Bam! Kept you waiting, didn't I? Huh? Yeah. Kept y'all waiting. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Storm of BrickWall Reviews. Trying to make sure the sound is working now. There we go. All right, cool. Sounds working. All right, what's up, everybody? So y'all probably saw this review go up already once and then get deleted, but that's because like I was playing it back trying to make sure my sound was working, and my sound was not working, so I had deleted it. Had to come back and do it again, but it's okay. It's all good because we're here now. And so once again, I say welcome to another Stone BrickWall Reviews. I'm Dave, and right now I'm going to be talking about the 20th anniversary of Napoleon Dynamite, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I love this movie. I know a lot of people think it's a little dumb, and I know it's like mixed opinions and stuff like that on this movie. Well, not really mixed, but there are people who love it. There are people who hate it. Y'all know my chair is like uncomfortable, but people who like it, there are people who hate it. I'm one of the people that love this movie. I think it's so funny. And watching this, I'll tell y'all my thoughts about how I'm watching this as this review goes on. But first, before I do that, I want to remind you guys, go ahead, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and just, keep rocking with the channel. It's our BrickWall Christmas season. As you see my tiny little itty bitty Christmas decorations back there. I'm gonna be talking BrickWall Christmas stuff this month too, so make sure y'all stay tuned for that. And I'm finishing the 20th anniversary reviews. So speaking of which, I got a list full of things that I have to get done for 20 and 24 rather. Where there's a whole bunch of movies that came out in the year 2004 that are celebrating the 20th anniversary this year, and I'm trying to get to as many of them as possible. I have the rest of this month to make it happen. I know I'm gonna do it. I can do it. Yeah, and so with that said, one of the movies that I was so happy came out in 2004 because to finally get to talk about this movie, right? One of the movies I could not have left this year without speaking about, outside of the SpongeBob movies, make sure to come review for that, is Napoleon freaking Dynamite. Oh, what do I feel like doing? Gosh, like I freaking love this movie. Is so funny to me. Like it's such the perfect mix of like dry humor and like a little bit of slaps. It's just such a weird movie. This is like the first movie I saw that was just like, it was weird. And I remember just thinking that when I first watched this movie back in 2004, I was like, this is a weird movie. This is weird. Like this is very weird, but it was also very charming. It was very funny. So this movie follows a young man named Napoleon Dynamite, who's played brilliantly, might I add, by John Heder, who he was in a bunch of different movies. Well, not a bunch, but this was his breakout. This is his breakout role. I don't know if it was his debut, but it's definitely his breakout role. Yeah, a couple movies after this, but there's nothing better for him than Napoleon Dynamite. That was his peak role. I mean, like I said, the stuff that he was in afterwards, he was in an Adam Sandler movie. He was in Monster House. But so this movie follows in a small town, Preston, Idaho. An awkward teen, Napoleon Dynamite, has trouble fitting in. After his grandmother is injured in an accident, his life is made even worse when his strangely nostalgic Uncle Rico shows up to keep an eye on him. With no safe haven at home or at school, Napoleon befriends a new kid named Pedro, a morose Hispanic boy who speaks little English. Together, the two launch a campaign to run for class president. That is the synopsis I read. So the synopsis sounds boring to me. So this is really like Napoleon, and you see it through the film. He is like this awkward guy. He's like, one of the first things he does in the movie, he gets on the bus, ties a string to like this action figure, and like drops him out of the window of the bus just so it can trail behind the bus on the string. Why does he do that? No fucking idea, man. And like when he gets on the bus, this kid says, "So Napoleon, what are you gonna do today?" He goes, "Whatever I freaking feel." He's like, "Whatever I feel like doing." Gosh. It's like, and he did the head turn and everything. Like, it was so funny. So you see at school, he gets bullied a lot. Like people just like, they'll walk up to him and just push him in the fucking locker. This one guy has him in a headlock, shaking him back and forth and stuff like that. They really do mess with this kid a lot. And he's just like he's an outsider. He has an older brother named Kip, one of those names, Kip or Kif. I can't remember it. I know it's Kip. One of them. Anyway, so he has like it's like his brother, and like all he does all day is just sit online and like talk to this girl, or does like online dating pretty much. So he's talking to these people, he's talking to these girls, trying to build relationships, trying to find honey, just trying to find a girl, Napoleon. You just want to understand. Like, that's how he sounds. Like, the voices of the characters are so freaking funny. So, like I said in the synopsis, his grandmother, she says that she's going on like a little weekend trip or something real light or something like that. And comes to find out she injured herself riding like dirt bikes over the dunes or some shit, and freaking had a big injury, like broke her leg or broke her hip or something like that. She broke something. And so that's when Uncle Rico, Napoleon's Uncle Rico, comes by. And when I say that, when the synopsis says that he's nostalgic, he was an athlete back in his high school days, and he just keeps thinking back like, man, I could have made it to the league. Could you imagine? I could have made them, could have scored, could have been big, could have been millionaire if only I was able to press the coach that day. If only I was able to. Man, if I could get a time machine and go back in time, I'd do that. And that's how Rico sounds when he's talking too. It's mad funny. Napoleon meets this kid, the new kid at school, Pedro, comes in. He kind of like befriends him instantly and stuff like that. They kind of bond over, bikes and stuff like that. They bond over the things they bond over. At the same time, there's this girl that's walking around. She's trying to like sell her photography skills, take pictures or sell like little bracelets and stuff like that, so she can help herself get to college. And there's like a small little love triangle there with that. But and one of the things, speaking of this girl, this is the perfect way to get into this part of this portion of my thoughts of this movie, is that this movie does awkward characters perfectly. Like, this movie is directed by Jared Hess, and I don't know, like, his other movies are kind of like this too. Like, his other movie, Nacho Libre, is like this. He has another movie I want to watch that's on Prime right now. I forgot what it's called, but I want to check it out and see how he does these awkward characters, because these characters are so fucking awkward. Like, the girl, she's like, well, I see these bracelets. I can take your photography. Like, she's so like that. And then Pedro, even him, he's like, I'm not going to do the Spanish accent. But even he's just like, well, okay, I'm going to do the accent. He's like, well, one day I can write it like. He's just like, everyone's so freaking awkward in the movie. But it lends to the charm that the characters have, which is one of the things I think really drew me to this movie, is that for as awkward as these characters are, they are also oddly charming. Like, I can see myself knowing a Napoleon and being like, oh, I mean, he's a decent guy. Like, I can see myself knowing the girl and being like, okay, she's a decent girl. I can see myself knowing a Pedro. I can see myself knowing a Kip. I can see myself knowing an Uncle Rico and just being like, yeah, that's a strange guy. But even in Uncle Rico being the antagonist, if you had to put an antagonist in this film, this Uncle Rico, he is still a charming character, because you kind of understand, like, yeah, he's just living for the glory days. Something happened where he didn't make it to the league. He didn't play football the way he wanted to, and he wants to get those days back. So it's like, and I see that, and it's like, wow, even though he's not like a total bad guy at all. Like, he's just trying to do his business. He's trying to make money, trying to do all this stuff. He's not a bad guy. He's just an asshole. Just a little bit of an asshole too. Not like a big asshole. Just a little bit of an asshole. Like, and that kind of speaks to how we are in society. Like, no one's there are people who are complete assholes. There are some people who are just a little bit of an asshole. I mean, that's what Uncle Rico is. Let's see other things about this film. So, like I said, it comes down to the point when Napoleon's trying to find a date for the school dance, and the girl that he wanted to go with, he drew a picture. It said to her, and mom was like, you're gonna go to the dance with that boy, and the picture was like really not that great. And the girl said the picture, like, the fuck is this? And so she goes to the dance room. Like, he gonna pick her up because he had the Uncle Rico's making him late to the dance. So he hop in the car and they drive, and Uncle Rico handling his business or whatever case. Napoleon gets out, starts walking. He runs into these guys, these Spanish guys, got like this car, and he's like, "Oh, you guys related to Pedro?" or something like that. And so, like, they pull up to the girl house. The girl get in the car, and they get to the dance and everything like that. And she just disappears on his ass. That joint was wild, yo. Pedro, with him running for class president, He's very nervous and everything. He got sick and stuff like that. He didn't really know if he wanted to do it still. Had to wear a wig because he cut off all his hair. It was that part was just really crazy. And then when he had to do his big speech, he's like, "If you vote for me, all your wildest dreams will come true. Thank you." It's just like, and they're running against one of the most popular girls in the school, and she does this whole showcase, like a presentation, because after they do their speeches, they have to do a presentation, and she does it to "Larger Than Life" by the Backstreet Boys. That makes you larger than life. That's how the dance went, kind of. I know some of it was like this. And then Napoleon gets out there last minute to do a dance routine because he was like, practicing doing dance and stuff like that. So backtrack, Kip met this girl, LaFonda. LaFonda gave Napoleon the tape to kind of like with music on it, kind of dance. So Napoleon gets up there, and what I think is the crowning moment of this movie, the absolute best moment of this movie, the big climax of this movie is Napoleon's dance number. Oh my God, I live for this scene. I watched this movie. I will watch the entire. I won't skip one moment because getting there through the journey of the movie to see that dance is the pay. I can't even watch the dance by itself. I have to watch the entire movie just so I can get the satisfaction of him actually doing that. Because that's such a big moment in the movie. It's such a big moment. It's Napoleon stepping out of this like comfort zone, this shell. He's putting himself out there. He's doing what he's doing what he's doing. He's standing up for his friend. He's reconciling. Like that's a big moment for him as a character in the movie. That is him making things right. That is him putting himself on the line. That is him going out there and just do. And the song that he uses too, I've always thought this about the song too. The song that he's using it's like compare, like bind it with the scene. It's like it's liberation, because the song is like, dance all the bad times you're going through, just dance. Got candy in my ears tonight, baby. And it's just like the way the song plays out and stuff like that. Like if you listen to the song, it's called "Can't Heat" by Jamiroquai, and the song matches the scene and the arc of the character up to that point. And Napoleon, I mean, he getting it. He getting it. He was getting it. Boy, I could not. When I saw this part, every time I saw that, everybody knew. It was like, yo, your boy Napoleon Dynamite is on. I'm like, yo, that's my John. Let me know when the dance part comes out. I'll be watching the movie still. But if I walk away, like, yo, don't let me miss the dancing part. Like, yo, the dance is coming. I'm like, yo, that's my John. I will be cracking the freak up, yo. I laugh so hard every freaking time I see that. And because he was really tearing the dance, he was tearing it up. He was, man, Napoleon was doing his fucking thing with them damn boots. Napoleon Dynamite, like, and that's not like I freaking, and outside of the dance though, which is clearly my favorite part of this movie, there are lines in this movie that's just so funny. Like, hit your freaking food, Tina. Gosh, idiots. Gosh, lucky. Like he's just such a funny character because he's just so awkward. It's just so, and it's just like I said, like it's not like the movie has these characters going like these big, egregious, larger than life scenarios. Like it's just like a small situation, and it's such a personal movie, such a bottled movie. I feel like, and honestly, it was one of the first movies, if not the first movies, that really put me on to how an independent film is. Because for all intents and purposes, Napoleon Dynamite is an independent film. Of course, it was released by Fox Searchlight, which did independent films back then. Back in 20th Century Fox was a studio. Instead of the main banner of 20th Century Fox, it was 20th Century Spotlight. And like I said, Spotlight would release the movies that were more independent, maybe a little lower budget, just more character-driven stories, you know what I'm saying? Things like that. And this was one of the ones that I first noticed as like, wow, films don't have to have these big stakes, these big gigantic moments. It can just be these small little things that lead into a slightly bigger thing, but the big thing is not even that big of a thing. It's just still a small thing. And I like that. And the way that this movie plays out, and the stakes are so low, and the everything is just so intimate in this movie. I think that's why when they put the animated series out, I've never watched one episode of the animated series, but I think that's why the animated series might have failed, because it didn't have the same type of heart. That's why I kept hearing from a lot of people who talk about it, like it just didn't feel the same because it didn't have that type of heart. Because Napoleon Dynamite, it only works as one. It's not a franchise. It's a movie that lasts 20 years and is still getting referenced to this day. If you guys don't know, recently there was a tater tot ad for Ore-Ida tater tots, and it had John Heder reprising his role as Napoleon Dynamite, and he had a top pouch on his pants, and that is a direct reference to a moment in the movie where Napoleon's sitting next to this guy. He's like, "Hey, Napoleon, hey, can I get some of your tots?" It's like, "No, these are my tots. Get your own. Come on, man, I haven't eaten all day either. Come on, man, oh gosh." And dude just starts kicking the fuck out of his legs and switch the tots. He's like, "God, idiot." Like, I'm reading like this movie is so good. Like, and yeah, I love it. And people loved it too, because although it's not a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, it is a pretty good one. It's still fresh. It's 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, 7 out of 10 on IMDb. Back in the day, I would have definitely given this movie, I wouldn't have given it 5 stars, but I would have definitely gave it like 4.5 stars, because I will admit that while this movie is funny, it is also hella dry, and dry humor really has to be your thing for you to find a lot of the stuff that's in this movie funny. But yeah, it's a lot of dry humor. And just watching it recently, I realized how many jokes there really are. There's a lot of good jokes in this movie. There's a lot of great lines. There's a lot of quotable moments in this movie. So now, like today, my rating would be like a 4.9, like a 4.9. It would be higher than it was then. Because like I said, sitting at 4.5 back in 2004, I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it's good, but there are some boring parts. But that makes the parts that are funny hit so much better. And then, like I said, just watching it again. Like, this is the first time I watched this movie in a few years. Like, I haven't seen this movie in a minute. So I'm watching this movie and I'm just like, wow, the humor is just so, it's some sharp humor. What's going on, Thunder Dan 27? That was a very random thing to throw in here, but we'll rock with it. But yeah, I rock with the dry humor of this movie. I thought it was really good. Like I said, so yeah, my rating for this today is a 4.9 at 5 stars. Where can you watch Napoleon Dynamite? Well, it's now available on Hulu and Disney Plus. If you have a Hulu subscription, the bundle pack, you know what I mean. But yeah, so happy 20th anniversary to Napoleon Dynamite, one of the funniest movies of all time, in my opinion. I don't want any more from Napoleon Dynamite. I'm fine watching this movie as it is without any franchise. I don't want to see a new Napoleon Dynamite. I don't want to see a Napoleon Dynamite 2. I don't want to see a Napoleon Dynamite reboot. I don't want to see nothing else in the world of Napoleon Dynamite. Nothing. I don't want to see Napoleon Dynamite prequel about how Pedro got to school. I don't want to see any of that. I just leave Napoleon Dynamite alone. You tried the TV show. It did not work. Leave Napoleon Dynamite alone. Okay? Yes, it is a good movie, Thunder Dan. Very good movie. Very great movie. Hilarious movie. Keep selling merchandise. Do special screenings in the movie. Something, but just no new Napoleon Dynamite content. I'm fine. The Ore-Ida commercial, as great as it was and as nostalgic as that was, I'm good. I didn't need the whole commercial. I'm good. Like, Napoleon Dynamite exists in a bubble, and it just to be passed on from generation to generation. Okay? Especially when you got candy in my ears tonight, baby. Woo! I was fucking it up, man. But anyway, that's all I got for you now. Thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, what did you think of Napoleon Dynamite? Is this one of the funniest movies? Did you enjoy this movie? Was this a movie that always annoyed you? 20 years later, how do you feel? Let me know in the comments. But until next time, y'all, thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. And until next time, y'all, be easy, stay breezy. Just don't be an idiot. Share your thoughts. Gosh. Peace.